Ever feel like no matter what strategy you use, you still end up losing? What if I told you it ain't your trades, it's your mind messing things up? Stick around, because we're about to expose the mindset traps that are secretly costing you big time. In this video, we're diving deep into the hidden mental mistakes that make traders blow accounts, miss wins, and stress out way more than they should. I'm going to break down the sneaky ways your brain might be working against you, show real-life examples, and give you simple mindset hacks you can start using today to flip the script on your trading game. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll see why thinking wrong equals losing big and how to stop it fast. You ever notice how some traders, no matter how good their strategy looks on paper, just keep hitting losses after losses? And it ain't because the market's out to get them. Nah, it's way more sneaky than that. The real culprit is something most people never even think about: their mindset. That quiet little voice in your head that keeps whispering doubts, fears, and sometimes straight up lies is often the reason you're losing trades and leaving money on the table. The wild thing is, you might not even realize it's happening. It's like a trap built by your own brain. And once you spot it, it's kind of obvious how scary it becomes, but also how fixable it is. Here's the deal. Trading isn't just about charts, signals, or fancy strategies. Those are tools, yeah, but if your mind's in the wrong place, all of that smarts is basically useless. Imagine trying to run a race with a backpack full of bricks. You can have the fastest legs on the planet, but if your body's weighed down, you ain't winning. That's exactly what happens when your mental habits are sabotaging you. You're literally carrying invisible bricks that slow you down, mess up your decision-making, and keep you stuck in a loop of losses. One of the biggest traps is overthinking trades. Sounds harmless, right? But here's how it works. You spot a setup, you think about every possible outcome, you doubt yourself, and by the time you pull the trigger, or don't, the trade has either passed or turned into a mess. You start questioning, should I enter now? Should I wait? What if I lose? That kind of mental paralysis can destroy even the best strategies. Beginners fall into this all the time because they're scared of losing. Intermediate traders struggle when they start trying to micromanage every tick. And even experts, believe it or not, can overthink when their confidence gets shaken after a few losses. Another trap? Revenge trading. This one's brutal because it feels normal. You take a hit, your brain screams, "I gotta make this back," and suddenly your decisions are fueled by anger and frustration instead of logic. That's a recipe for bigger losses, plain and simple. What's tricky is your brain actually convinces you this is smart, like it's protecting you, but in reality, it's the exact opposite. That's the hidden trap in action, subtle, sneaky, and totally invisible until the damage is done. Then there's the fear of missing out, or FOMO. You see other traders making money, and your brain goes haywire. Man, I gotta jump in too. Even if the setup isn't right or your rules say no, that fear pushes you into trades you shouldn't take. It's mental sabotage disguised as opportunity. And honestly, it hits everyone at some point. Beginners get swept up in hype, intermediates try to chase their last win, and experts sometimes let ego creep in and push them past their own limits. Here's the kicker. These mental traps are subtle. You don't feel them like a punch in the face. Instead, they creep in slowly, messing with your confidence, making you hesitate, overtrade, or act impulsively. And when you look back at your trades, you might blame strategy, market conditions, or bad luck, but rarely do traders point the finger at their own mindset. That's why it's called a hidden trap. It's invisible, it's quiet, and yet it can completely tank your performance. The reason this happens is all rooted in how our brains work. Humans are wired to react to fear and reward. Trading hits those triggers every single day. Our brains are constantly scanning for risk, trying to protect us from losses. Sounds smart, right? But the market isn't life or death. Your brain treats it like it is. Every time you feel stress, fear, or impatience creeping in, that's your lizard brain kicking in, making you pull the trigger too early, exit too late, or overcommit when you should chill. Most traders never even notice this process happening because it feels totally natural. And here's where it gets even trickier. Habit. Once your brain starts responding this way, it gets comfortable with it. You begin to react automatically, without thinking, every time you face a similar trade setup. That's why some traders can be brilliant one day and blow up the next. The strategy didn't fail, the market didn't cheat you. It's your mindset running the show behind the scenes. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. The good news? Once you recognize these subtle habits, you can fix them. It's all about catching yourself in the act, noticing when your emotions start controlling decisions and flipping the script. That's why understanding this hidden trap is the first step to becoming a trader who consistently wins, no matter your skill level. So if you've ever wondered why your trading feels like a roller coaster, sometimes great, sometimes terrible, it's probably this hidden mindset trap at work. And trust me, once you see it, you'll start spotting it everywhere. Hesitation before entry, panic exits, chasing losses, or reacting emotionally to market swings. Recognizing it is half the battle, because awareness is the only way you can start taking control. Alright, now that we've peeled back the curtain on this hidden mindset trap and seen how it quietly wrecks trades, it's time to dig deeper. Up next, we're going to break down the exact signs your mindset is holding you back, so you can catch yourself before it costs you more money. Stick around, because this next part is going to hit hard, and it'll make you rethink the way you trade forever. So now that we've exposed the hidden mindset trap that's quietly sabotaging your trades, let's get real about how it actually shows up in your day-to-day trading. You see, it's one thing to know there's a trap lurking, but it's another thing to recognize it when it's happening to you. And here's the thing, it doesn't always scream in your face. Most of the time, it's subtle, creeping in through habits and patterns that feel normal, until you take a step back and realize, whoa, this is why I keep losing money. Let's talk about some of the biggest red flags that show your mindset might be holding you back. First off, overtrading. Man, this one hits everyone at some point. You've had a bad trade, maybe a couple of losses in a row, and suddenly your brain is screaming, I gotta make it back, now! That's when traders start jumping in over and over, chasing setups they wouldn't normally touch. The market doesn't care about your feelings, but your mind sure does, and it's feeding you this lie that more trades equal more chances to win. Spoiler alert, it usually equals more losses. Beginners often fall into this trap because they're impatient. Intermediates might get greedy, and even seasoned pros can slip if their ego or confidence gets shaken. Overtrading is like digging a hole for yourself and then trying to fill it with even more dirt. It never ends well. Another huge sign is fear of loss. You feel that tightness in your chest when a trade goes against you, right? That fear can freeze you up, make you hesitate to pull the trigger, or push you to exit too early just to avoid pain. It's like your brain hits the panic button every time you see red on the screen. And the scary part? This fear doesn't just steal your profits, it trains you to expect failure. You start second-guessing yourself constantly, and suddenly making a solid decision feels impossible. It's not about the strategy here, it's about your mental game. And honestly, fear of loss hits beginners hardest because they haven't built confidence yet. But even experts get caught when they face big swings in the market. Then there's revenge trading, which is basically trading while angry. You get burned on a trade, and your brain is whispering, I'm gonna get this money back no matter what. That's when logic flies out the window. You enter trades you wouldn't normally touch, size up positions too big, or hold on longer than you should, all because your emotions are running the show. It's brutal, because in the moment it feels justified, like you're being smart or aggressive, but in reality, it's self-sabotage on autopilot. I can't tell you how many traders I've seen wreck an entire day or even a week chasing their losses like this. Another subtle but powerful sign is hesitation. You see a perfect setup, everything aligns with your plan, and then you pause. You overthink, you wait too long, you let fear creep in, and by the time you act, the opportunity's gone. Hesitation is tricky because it's not always obvious. Sometimes it looks like discipline, but really it's a lack of confidence fueled by previous losses, doubt, or just your brain overanalyzing. Beginners hesitate because they're scared, intermediates because they want to be perfect, and even experts hesitate when their confidence wavers or when market conditions feel off. Hesitation kills potential gains, plain and simple. And don't forget emotional attachment to trades. Some traders can't let go of a losing position because they feel like giving up is admitting defeat. You see it all the time. A trader is deep in a losing trade, keeps hoping it'll turn around, and ends up losing even more. The market doesn't care about your pride, and neither does logic. It only cares about probabilities. Holding on because of emotion is a classic mental trap that silently drains accounts over time. Now, here's the kicker. Recognizing these signs isn't about shaming yourself. It's about awareness. Awareness is the first step to control. The minute you notice patterns like overtrading, fear-driven exits, revenge trading, hesitation, or emotional attachment, you're already halfway to fixing them. You can't change what you don't see. But once you see it, you can start implementing strategies to take your brain off autopilot. And while we're at it, here's something that hits all traders, beginner to expert. Your mindset shapes every single decision you make. Even the smartest strategy in the world will fail if your brain is feeding you lies about risk, loss, or opportunity. Your mindset is like the engine under the hood. It doesn't matter how nice your car looks or how slick the paint job is if the engine isn't running right. So when you notice these red flags creeping into your trades, don't freak out. Think of it like spotting a warning light on your dashboard. It's there to help you, not punish you. Start asking yourself questions. Am I trading out of fear? Am I chasing losses? Am I hesitating too much? Just noticing these things gives you the power to act differently next time. That's the real secret of successful traders. They catch themselves before the mindset mistakes spiral out of control. All right, so now that we've uncovered the signs that your mindset is holding you back, things like overtrading, hesitation, revenge trading, and letting fear control you, it's time to get a little deeper. I'm talking about the why behind all of it. Why do these mistakes happen? Why do even smart traders blow their accounts, make impulsive moves, or let emotions hijack their decisions? The answer? It's all about psychology, plain and simple. Here's the thing. Trading isn't just a numbers game. Sure, charts, indicators, and strategies matter, but the game really starts in your head. Your brain is wired to react to risk and reward in ways that were useful thousands of years ago, back when humans were dodging predators instead of analyzing candlesticks. And while that survival mode wiring kept us alive back then, it doesn't exactly play nice in today's fast-moving markets. Every time you see a green candle or a red candle, your brain is throwing all these ancient reactions at you, and if you're not aware of them, you're basically letting your instincts drive your trades instead of logic. Take fear, for example. Fear is brutal in trading. It can make you hesitate to enter a trade, pull out too early, or completely freeze when opportunity hits. Your brain treats losing money like a threat to your survival, even though it's just numbers on a screen. That's why fear is such a powerful psychological trap. It tricks you into thinking you're protecting yourself, when really you're stopping yourself from making smart decisions. Beginners feel this all the time because every trade feels huge and scary. Intermediates get it when they've had a streak of losses or a bad trade history. And even experts can feel fear creep in when they're trading big positions or during volatile markets. The key is knowing that fear is normal, but reacting to it without control is what kills accounts. Then there's greed, the other side of the coin. Greed isn't just wanting more money, it's letting the thought of potential gains push you into trades you wouldn't normally take. You see a big move happening and your brain is screaming, "Jump in, don't miss this." But the moment greed takes over, logic leaves the building. Your risk management goes out the window, you hold trades too long, or you scale up too big too fast. Greed and fear are like fraternal twins in trading psychology. They show up together, wrecking trades left and right if you're not careful. Another huge part of trading psychology is loss aversion. This one's sneaky. People hate losing more than they love winning. That's why sometimes you'll see a trader holding a losing position way too long, hoping it'll turn around, instead of taking a small loss and moving on. Your brain doesn't want to admit you're wrong, so it convinces you to wait it out. But the market doesn't care about your feelings. Every second you hesitate, you're risking more than necessary, and that's how small losses spiral into big ones. And here's where it gets interesting: confirmation bias. This is when your brain only pays attention to info that supports what you already believe. Maybe you have a hunch a stock is going up, so you focus on all the positive signals and ignore the warning signs. Traders get burned by this constantly, beginner or pro. It's a mental shortcut that feels smart at the moment, but it blinds you from reality. The market will humble you fast if you start thinking you're always right. Then there's overconfidence, which often sneaks in after a few wins. You hit a streak, your ego inflates, and suddenly you think you can't lose. You might increase your trade size, take riskier setups, or ignore your own rules. Overconfidence feels amazing in the short term, but the market will humble anyone who underestimates it. Even the best traders have been knocked down by overconfidence at some point. It's basically part of the game. The trick is to balance confidence with discipline. Here's the bottom line. Your brain is constantly working against you, even if it feels like it's helping. All these psychological quirks, fear, greed, loss aversion, confirmation bias, overconfidence, are normal. But if you're not aware of them, they sneak in and sabotage your trades without you even realizing it. That's why psychology is just as important, if not more important, than the best strategy in the world. The good news? Understanding this psychology gives you the power to fight back. Once you know your brain is wired this way, you can build habits and routines to override it. You can start spotting fear before it freezes you, catch greed before it inflates your risks, and keep overconfidence in check even on a winning streak. Awareness is your first line of defense. Discipline and routine are the next. And that's exactly why what we're going to cover next is so powerful. After you understand the psychology behind trading mistakes, the next step is seeing real-life examples and case studies. You'll see how other traders, beginners and pros alike, have fallen into these traps, and more importantly, how they flipped the script to take control of their mindset. Seeing it in action will make everything we've talked about hit home and give you a mental blueprint to start fixing your own trading game. So get ready. Up next, we're diving into the stories of traders who faced these exact psychological traps, got wrecked, and then learned how to fight back. Trust me, these examples aren't just eye-opening. They're going to show you exactly what not to do, and more importantly, what you can do to win consistently. Stick around because the lessons from these real-life cases will change how you trade forever. All right, so now that we've broken down the psychology behind trading mistakes, why fear, greed, overconfidence, and all those sneaky brain quirks mess with your trades, it's time to bring this stuff to life. Let's talk real-life examples, not theory, not abstract ideas, but stories of traders just like you who fell into these traps, got wrecked, and had to figure out a better way. Because honestly, seeing it play out in real trades makes it hit way harder than any lecture ever could. Picture this. A trader, let's call him Jake, starts off strong with a simple strategy. He's disciplined, follows his rules, and things are going smooth. Then comes that one trade that goes against him. Suddenly, fear creeps in. He starts questioning himself, hesitates on the next setups, and before he knows it, he's missing opportunities or exiting too early. The weird thing? The strategy didn't fail. The market didn't change. Jake's mindset did. He let fear take over, and the results? A series of small losses that slowly add up until he's frustrated, doubting himself, and starting to chase trades to make it back. Now, flip the scenario. Take Emily, an intermediate trader who's been on a decent winning streak. Confidence is high, ego is a little bigger than it should be, and suddenly she starts thinking she's untouchable. She starts increasing her trade sizes, ignoring her risk management, and holding on to trades way too long. At first, she's still making money, but the market doesn't play favorites. A couple of swings hit and boom, her account takes a hit she wasn't ready for. Overconfidence, which felt like power, turned into self-sabotage. And then there's Marcus, a trader who struggles with revenge trading. He takes a loss, feels burned, and immediately jumps into another trade, trying to win it back. His brain is buzzing with frustration, telling him he needs to make it right. The setup isn't ideal, the timing's off, but he doesn't care. He's chasing emotion, not logic. The result? He doubles down on losses, spirals emotionally, and ends the day way worse off than if he had just taken a breath and stepped away. Sound familiar? Almost every trader has been Marcus at some point. These examples aren't random, they show a pattern. Beginners get trapped by fear and hesitation. Intermediates often fall prey to overconfidence or greed, and even expert traders aren't immune. When emotions creep in, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, the market humbles everyone eventually. What's wild is how similar the stories are. Across skill levels, the mistakes repeat themselves because our brains are wired to react in certain ways, not to trade perfectly. Here's the big takeaway from these case studies. Strategy is only part of the game. The rest is mindset. You can have the tightest setups, the best indicators, and still get wrecked if your mental game isn't on point. Fear, hesitation, revenge trading, overconfidence, these aren't small details. They're the real difference between a trader who consistently wins and one who just scrapes by or burns out. And let's be real, spotting these patterns in your own trading isn't always easy. It's one thing to hear about Jake, Emily, and Marcus, but seeing yourself in their shoes, that's when it clicks. Maybe you overtrade after a loss. Maybe you hesitate because you're scared to pull the trigger. Maybe your ego gets in the way after a small win streak. Recognizing these tendencies is like turning the lights on in a dark room. You start seeing the traps you didn't even know were there. Now here's the empowering part. All these traders learn to fight back. Jake started journaling his trades and emotions, which helped him spot fear before it hijacked his decisions. Emily started sticking rigidly to her risk management rules, even on hot streaks, and learned to separate confidence from ego. Marcus learned to step away after losses, giving himself time to cool off before re-entering the market. The change didn't happen overnight, but it did happen once they became aware of their mindset traps and actively worked to fix them. That's the whole point. Awareness plus action equals control. And here's why this matters for you, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or seasoned trader. You're not just learning strategies or setups in this video series. You're learning the mental blueprint that underlies all successful trading. Seeing these real-life examples helps you map your own behaviors, spot red flags in real time, and take steps before they turn into account-wrecking mistakes. The stories make it concrete, not abstract. So as we wrap up this part, keep in mind, understanding psychology and seeing it in action is huge, but it's just the stepping stone. Up next, we're diving into practical mindset shifts for success. That's where we take all this knowledge, the traps, the signs, the psychology, the case studies, and turn it into real, actionable mental habits. Stuff you can start doing today to stop self-sabotaging and actually start trading like a pro. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this, because this is where the mental game flips in your favor. Alright, so now that we've seen the psychology behind trading mistakes, spotted the red flags in our mindset, and walked through real-life examples of traders getting wrecked by fear, greed, and ego, it's time to flip the script. This is where we go from knowing what not to do to actually building mental habits that make you a stronger, smarter trader. I'm talking practical mindset shifts you can start using today, no matter if you're just getting started or already running a multi-thousand-dollar account. First up, let's talk about owning your decisions. One of the biggest mindset killers is doubt. You see a setup, you hesitate, second-guess yourself, and then you either miss the move or make a sloppy entry. To fix this, you need to fully commit to your trades once your plan says go. That doesn't mean reckless trading. It means trusting your strategy, trusting your analysis, and then stepping in confidently. Beginners sometimes struggle because they're scared of losing. Intermediates might overanalyze, and even seasoned traders can get shook when things go against them. The key is to pause before fear sneaks in, breathe, and say, "I got this. I know my plan." When you own your decisions like this, you take fear out of the driver's seat and let logic do the work. Next, let's hit emotional control, because this is where most traders fail. Emotional reactions like panic exits, revenge trading, or jumping on every FOMO move are money killers. The shift here is simple, but it takes practice. Step back, literally. Give yourself space after a loss. Journal your trades and your emotions. Notice when anger, frustration, or excitement is creeping in. When you can recognize these emotions in real time, you can stop them from running your decisions. Beginners will find this tough at first, but like anything, repeated practice makes it second nature. Intermediates and pros will love this too. It's a game changer when you're managing big positions. Another major shift is thinking long-term instead of chasing every win. Way too many traders get hung up on the next trade or the next candle. That's where overtrading and revenge trading come in. The mindset shift here is about seeing your trading as a marathon, not a sprint. You're building a record of smart decisions over time, not trying to hit a home run on every trade. Focus on consistency, risk management, and following your rules. When you start thinking long-term, fear and greed lose their power because you realize one trade doesn't make or break your success. It's the cumulative results that matter. Let's also talk about discipline and routines. Mental strength in trading isn't just about thinking positive or being confident. It's about creating a structure that keeps your emotions in check. That could mean a pre-market routine, a checklist before every trade, or reviewing your trades at the end of the day. The routine acts like a mental shield, protecting you from impulsive decisions and giving your brain clear guidelines. Beginners can start small with just a 5-minute pre-trade check, while more advanced traders can build full routines that include journaling, analyzing setups, and setting alerts for emotional spikes. Another huge mindset shift is accepting losses as part of the game. This is a tough one because humans naturally hate losing. But in trading, losses are not failures, they're data. Every loss tells you something if you're paying attention. Instead of punishing yourself or chasing losses, start looking at them as feedback. What went right? What went wrong? How can you adjust your approach next time? Beginners may struggle with this, intermediates may get frustrated, and even pros have to constantly remind themselves that losses are just a cost of doing business. Once you accept this mentally, you'll stop letting losses dictate your next moves and start trading more rationally. Then there's the idea of small incremental improvements. You don't flip your mindset overnight. Think of it like leveling up in a video game. Every day you practice, every small habit you build, you get stronger. Focus on one mental habit at a time. Maybe this week you work on committing to your trades without hesitation. Next week you focus on journaling emotions and spotting FOMO. The cumulative effect of these small improvements is massive, and it keeps your mind sharp even when the market gets wild. Finally, let's talk about self-awareness, probably the most important mindset shift of all. If you're not aware of your mental patterns, you're flying blind. Self-awareness means noticing when fear, greed, overconfidence, or hesitation starts creeping in before it wrecks a trade. It's about catching yourself in the act and saying, "Hold up, that's not logic talking, that's emotion." Beginners need this to avoid early losses. Intermediates need it to scale properly, and pros need it to protect big accounts. Awareness is the first step. The habits we talked about, routines, journaling, emotional control, are the tools you use once you're aware. All right, so here's the bottom line. Shifting your mindset isn't about being perfect. It's about creating habits and mental routines that keep your brain from sabotaging you. Commit to trades, manage your emotions, think long term, stick to routines, accept losses, focus on incremental improvements, and always stay self-aware. Do that consistently and you'll see your trading transform. You'll start making decisions with clarity instead of panic, consistency instead of chaos, and confidence instead of doubt. And here's why this matters for the next part. Now that we've armed you with practical mindset shifts, the next step is building a step-by-step daily routine or mini protocol you can start using today. We're talking an actionable routine that combines all these mindset principles into something you actually do before, during, and after every trading session. Stick around because this is where all the theory, psychology, and real-life lessons come together into a concrete, money-saving, mindset-boosting routine. All right, now that we've talked about mindset shifts and how to control fear, greed, hesitation, and overconfidence, it's time to get practical. Let's bring all that knowledge together and turn it into a daily routine that actually works. This isn't some complicated system with a million steps. It's a mini protocol you can start using today, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or seasoned trader. Think of it as your mental armor for every single trading session. First things first, your pre-trade prep. Before you even look at the charts, take a moment to check in with yourself. Sounds simple, right? But you'd be surprised how many traders skip this and let their emotions lead the way. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Am I stressed, angry, overexcited? Your emotional state sets the tone for every decision you're about to make. If you're tense or frustrated, take a quick break, step away from the screen, breathe, maybe grab a drink of water. This small pause prevents impulsive trades and keeps you from reacting emotionally to the market. Think of it like stretching before a workout. You wouldn't lift heavy without warming up your body, so don't trade without warming up your mind. Next, do a quick review of your rules and goals for the session. This is where your mental checklist comes in. Look at your trading plan, note your setups, and decide your risk per trade. This isn't just about numbers, it's about getting your brain aligned with discipline. When you know your limits and stick to them, it's much harder for fear, greed, or FOMO to sneak in. Beginners can start with simple rules like one trade at a time or risk no more than 1% per trade. Intermediates and pros can set more complex rules, but the core idea stays the same: clarity and focus before you touch the charts. Now we hit the during trade mindset. Once a trade is live, your job isn't to micromanage every candle. It's to observe, stick to your plan, and manage your emotions. Keep a mental note. Am I reacting or executing my strategy? If panic, excitement, or doubt starts creeping in, pause, take a breath, step back if needed. Some traders like to write a one-line note: I am following my rules. This simple reminder can keep your brain from hijacking your decision-making. Think of it as your safety harness. It keeps you secure when things get wild. Another key part of the routine is tracking your trades and your emotions. This is your secret weapon. After every trade, jot down not just what happened, but how you felt and why you made each decision. Were you nervous, greedy, hesitant, overconfident? Over time, you'll start seeing patterns in your behavior. Beginners might notice fear popping up in almost every trade. Intermediates may spot overconfidence during streaks. And pros might catch themselves holding on too long out of pride. This self-awareness is what separates average traders from consistently profitable ones. Your trading journal isn't just about the numbers, it's about learning to outsmart your own brain. Next, include a post-session review. After the market closes or your trading session ends, take 10 to 15 minutes to go over your trades. Celebrate what went right and don't shy away from mistakes. This is where real improvement happens. Instead of beating yourself up over losses, analyze why they happened. Did fear make you exit too early? Did greed push you into a bad setup? Did hesitation make you miss an opportunity? Breaking it down like this trains your mind to see losses as feedback, not failure. The more you review, the sharper your mental game gets. Here's another huge tip. Routine consistency beats intensity. Don't try to overhaul your entire trading mindset in one day. Start small. Focus on one or two habits, maybe pre-trade prep and emotional journaling. Once those feel natural, layer in more, like post-session reviews and during-trade self-checks. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Daily repetition builds mental muscle, and over time, these habits become automatic. Your mind will start working for you instead of against you. And don't forget about mental resets during rough sessions. Even the best traders hit losing streaks. When that happens, stick to your routine. Step away if needed. Review your rules. And remember, one trade or one day doesn't define your success. Beginners can benefit from a short break. Intermediates might review their session, and pros sometimes meditate or exercise to reset focus. Treat your routine as both a shield and a reset button, something that keeps your mindset strong no matter what the market throws at you. Finally, tie it all together by closing your trading day intentionally. End your session by reflecting on what you learned. Jot down key takeaways and plan your mental approach for the next session. This is more than bookkeeping. It's building momentum and reinforcing discipline. When you consistently close your day with awareness and reflection, your mindset becomes proactive instead of reactive. You start the next session stronger, calmer, and more focused. So, to sum it up, your mini protocol looks like this. Check in emotionally before trading. Review your rules and goals. Stick to your plan during trades. Journal your trades and emotions. Review your session afterward. Maintain consistency. Use mental resets when needed, and close each day intentionally. Beginners can start small. Intermediates can expand the routine, and pros can use it to refine and protect their edge. All right, now that you've got this step-by-step routine, here's the exciting part. The final section we're about to cover is the final message plus call to action. This is where we tie everything together. Mindset traps, red flags, psychology, real-life examples, shifts, and routines, and leave you with a clear, motivational takeaway that makes you want to take action immediately. Stick around, because this is the part that's going to fire you up and lock in everything we've talked about so far. All right, so here's the deal. Trading isn't just about charts, signals, or fancy strategies. It's about the mindset. We've walked through the hidden traps that sneak up on every trader, the signs that your brain might be holding you back, the psychology behind why we make mistakes, real-life examples that hit close to home, and even practical mindset shifts and routines you can start using today. Every piece of this puzzle matters, because the truth is, your brain can either be your biggest ally or your worst enemy in the market. Here's the takeaway I want you to remember. Awareness is power. Recognize your fears, your impulses, your overconfidence, and then use routines, journaling, and mental discipline to take control. The market doesn't care about your feelings, but you can control your decisions. Beginners, start small and build these habits. Intermediates, refine them and protect your edge. Experts, use this as a mental shield to stay sharp and consistent no matter how crazy the market gets. So here's what I want you to do next. Take one small habit from today's video, pre-trade check, emotional journaling, or reviewing your rules, and commit to it tomorrow. That's how change happens, one step at a time. If you got value from this, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing which mindset shift you're going to start using first. Trust me, sticking to this advice could be the difference between staying stuck in losses and actually building real, consistent trading success. And stick around, because in the next video, we're going to dive even deeper into advanced strategies to protect your mindset under pressure and maximize your gains while keeping your brain in check. You do not want to miss this.